My head's bigger than yours in the frame. Leave a comment below if you think Zach's head's too small.
Welcome to another D3 Datacast. I'm Zach Snyder, joined as always by my co-host, Matt Snyder. Matt, thanks for joining us again.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
So this is our fourth pack opening episode for our D3 Hoops trading cards. Matt, I just got 4 more packs from Target. It was amazing!
That was awesome. I would invite you never to do that again, though. Let's open the packs. What do you say?
All right, so go back and watch part 1, part 2, part 3 to get caught up. We're jumping in here on part 4. Starts with our 12th pack overall. Leading off pack 12, what do we have first? It's a team base card, the Wartburg Knights.
Yeah, Wartburg from Waverly, Iowa, in the American Rivers Conference. They were ranked about 100 nationally, 120 nationally by both the efficiency ratings and the Massey ratings. They had a sub 500 record, but that's just how good the conference is. You can be up around that top 100 area with a sub 500 record. Wartburg, just great conference, American Rivers. We've talked about them again and again. We will continue to talk about them every time an American Rivers team comes up. Just great conference there.
And then from Mr. Mimel's face to his hat, the McAllister Scots.
Yeah, great shout out for Mr. Mimel there. McAllister is a team on the rise in the MIAC, I think, after kind of a long time of some very sub 500 seasons. They're a team on the rise. Last 2 seasons have been very good. I think McAllister, watch out for them in the future.
Shouts to Coach Abe. All right, next up, another team base card, the Franciscan Barons.
Yeah, Franciscan out there in Steubenville, Ohio. That's like eastern Ohio, way out by Pittsburgh.
Next, we have the Hanover Panthers out of the HCAC.
Yeah, bracket heads are very familiar with Hanover. They're a team that can link different parts of the country. You can get them up to like Wisconsin, Oshkosh. Maybe they're going to play a Minnesota team. You can get them down to Atlanta, Georgia. Maybe they're going to play a Region 6 team. Unfortunately, they lost in the HCAC semifinals, weren't quite in bracket position, but every year come tournament time, you're looking at maybe is Hanover in position? What's that going to do to the bracket?
So now we hit our first inset card of this pack. It's from the Major Moments set, looking back to the NABC Reese's Division III All-Star game that was held before the championship game in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, shouts to a couple great coaches that were heading up this event on the 2 benches. We had Dave Hickson, formerly, of course, of Amherst, and Kevin Vandestreek, formerly of Calvin. Great event. Great to see these seniors graduating, get another chance to be on the floor. Great talent. Enjoyed my opportunity to see them both the last 2 years.
Back to the team base set. Actually, a player here we saw in that All-Star game. Here, this card representing the Hope Flying Dutchman.
Yeah, Hope from Holland, Michigan, the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association. And Zach, fun fact about Hope is they are the worst college in Division III.
I knew that one. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, to the unsung heroes set. Casey Krupka, who is from Mount Union. And, Matt, we were in the interview room and didn't recognize Casey until after the fact, and then I think he had to take off and wasn't able to hang around, so didn't actually get a chance to say hi to Casey. One of my major regrets from that weekend, but here we get Casey on the Unsung Heroes card.
Yeah, we were definitely remiss not to stop and say hello. Great job. I think that Mount Union room was packed. There was a lot of people that they brought, both from the athletic office and I think around the team. Probably some media members from that area as well. I'm not exactly sure who it was, but there was tons of people in there to see Mount Union. That was great to see.
All right, back to the team base set. Pitt Bradford, the Panthers.
Yeah, 5-9 record last year, 5th place in the AMCC. Pitt Bradford is way up in like northern Pennsylvania, up by the New York State line.
Next up, we have the St. Elizabeth Eagles.
St. Elizabeth from the CSAC, Morristown, New Jersey. They're one of those CSAC teams as that conference merges in with the UEC next year. We're going to be seeing how that new large conference shakes out.
The Stevens Ducks.
Stevens was a tournament team in 2022. Step back last year, 2023 wasn't quite as kind to them. They finished below 500, but they were kind of competitive in that middle upper section of the Mac Freedom Conference. Stevens from Hoboken, New Jersey, and as I said, Mac Freedom Conference.
All right, next up we have the University of New England Nor'easters. Great name.
Yeah, Commonwealth Coast Conference. It was a tough year for U of New England in that conference. Only 2 wins overall, 0-18 in league play. So I think they're going to be looking to improve things next season.
And finishing up our pack here with the Lake Forest Foresters.
Yeah, last team from the pack, Lake Forest, Illinois, Midwest Conference. That's like northern Illinois, north of Chicago. Probably too far north to still call it Chicago, though.
All right, as we said, that wrapped up Pac 12. On to Pac 13. Leading off here, we have the Marietta Pioneers.
Marietta Pioneers, we remember them from the 2022 Final Four. Unfortunately, they did not make the tournament in 2023. Marietta, Ohio, OAC Conference, and they're kind of like right on the border of West Virginia. Just don't call them West Virginia because they'll get upset.
The Allegheny Gators are up next.
Yeah, Allegheny made a move from the North Coast Athletic Conference to the President's Athletic Conference, and suddenly they start to look much more competitive. Funny how that is. You go from a really strong conference to kind of, a more middling, weaker conference, and all of a sudden you're right there in the mix.
Here's our first insert of the pack. It's back to random Twitter people with @CoachReg, Mike Rainiak.
Yeah, shouts to Coach Reg. It was great to have him on our show just about 2 weeks ago. For those tuning into this episode, when it launches on Monday, remember in just a couple days we have the TBT game with We Are D3 on July 19th. So definitely check that out. Let's root for We Are D3. I think they might have a good shot this year.
And back to the team base set with the University of Dallas Crusaders.
Yeah, interesting season for University of Dallas. 6-3 in non-conference play, but then just 4-12 in SCAC competition. Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference, that is, for University of Dallas. So kind of a tale of two seasons for University of Dallas in and out of conference play.
And Crusaders actually go back-to-back here, though more commonly these days known as the Crew. We have Mary Hardin Baylor.
Mary Hardin Baylor was a team that was on our national radar all last season and for several seasons now. Sweet 16 this last year in 2023, Elite 8 the year before. Definitely a program that we are watching year in and year out.
All right, Matt, I love this action shot here on the card for the Sarah Lawrence Griffins.
Yeah, those loose balls, those rebounds, those deflected passes, you got to keep your hands up. You got to grab the ball. Yeah, Sarah Lawrence here from Bronxville, New York in the skyline. I think that's just kind of a bit north of New York City proper.
Next, we have the Concordia Chicago Cougars.
A very, very difficult and unfortunate season for University of Chicago. They had their year cut short, only played 2 games in the new year. They had that strange situation where there was maybe like a team rules violation, and then the coach ran them through a hard practice, and some players ended up hospitalized. The season kind of ended there. Really unfortunate, mostly for the student athletes. They will have a new coaching staff in place next year, and so I think we hope good things for this team moving forward.
Continuing on with the St. Vincent Bearcats.
Yeah, there was a solid decade and a half where St. Vincent was like a lock to win 19 or 20 games. That hasn't really been the case the last couple of years. Won just 2 games in 2022. They took a step forward this last year with a 15-11 record. So hopefully St. Vincent is back to where they had been accustomed to being in that conference. President's Athletic Conference, that is.
All right, to the ODAC, the Roanoke Maroons.
Yeah, Roanoke Maroons in the ODAC, one of the great leagues. As you said, this was a team the efficiency ratings really loved last year. They ended up with 20 wins. Unfortunately, they just didn't have the results versus regionally ranked opponents, I think in particular, to get into the Pool C picture last year after they exited the ODAC tournament. But a really nice year for the Roanoke Maroons, and looking forward to what they have in store in the future.
All right, heading to another power conference here, the CCIW with the Milliken Big Blue.
Yeah, Milliken down there in Illinois, the CCIW, just a really tough league, as you said. They were 7-2 out of conference, and then 4-12 in just what's a really tough CCIW year in and year out. If you're not like a nationally elite program, it's just tough to win a whole lot of games in the CCIW.
And then we get the other insert card in this pack with our Fierce Foes set, paying homage to the rivalry between Worcester and Wittenberg. Worcester got the regular season sweep last season. Yeah,
another great rivalry in Division III. This was probably the second big rivalry I learned about after I started attending a Division III school. I learned about our rivalry, Zach, Calvin and Hope, a very top rivalry in Division III. And then the first year I'm looking at what are the big games around the country, and Worcester Wittenberg was the next one I learned about.
And finishing off our pack here is Rutgers Newark, the Scarlet Raiders.
Yeah, just 8 wins this past season after winning 20 games in 2022. So a little bit of a step back for Rutgers Newark, I think, as they go into the 2024 campaign. They're hoping to get kind of back on top in the NJAC there.
All right, Matthew, let's tear open pack 14 here. Get it started with the Colorado College Tigers.
Colorado College in Colorado Springs, Colorado, in the SCAC, the Southern Collegiate Athletic Conference. They are probably the singular most island team in the country. We talk about island conferences. They're out there in the middle of nowhere. I believe the closest D3 school to them is Nebraska Wesleyan at about 551 miles. And then they go to the next closest, you got to go 650 miles for, I think it's like Hardin-Simmons in Texas. We've talked previously on pack openings about Sul-Ross State in Alpine, Texas. They're kind of way out there. Or maybe UC Santa Cruz in kind of no man's land, California. Those schools have closest neighbors about 315 miles, so they don't even hold a candle to Colorado College. There is no one near the Tigers there.
All right, back to a team that is a little bit more densely populated in D3 land, the SUNY Old Westbury Panthers.
Yeah, Old Westbury out of the Skyline Conference. Old Westbury, New York. I kind of had to look it up, but that's out on Long Island there. Yep. So a little bit more densely populated with D3 schools out of that area than Colorado College, for sure.
All right, Matt, I feel like it's been a while since we've seen something from the Dream Destinations mini set here, but we pull one here in pack 14. This one paying, little homage here to the C2C conference tournament, which was held at the KP Arena in Santa Cruz, which also happens to be home of the Warriors G League team.
Yeah, very nice venue there to be able to play in a G League arena for that coast-to-coast conference tournament. That tournament kind of moves around the country to all of these different schools. KP Arena is one of the arenas that the games are hosted at for UC Santa Cruz. I think they have an on-campus gym that's kind of smaller, and they call this their what do they say? Their big game venue for UC Santa Cruz men's and women's basketball. So they play a few games here each year, and then that tournament there was very nice.
Big game. All right, back to the team base set. Elms, the Blazers.
Yeah, Chicopee, Massachusetts for Elms in the GNAC conference. Kind of a rough year though, just 3-22 overall. It's been some tough times for Elms recently in the GNAC. So hopefully Elms Blazers can bounce back going forward.
All right, back to the American Rivers with our tournament representative out of the American Rivers Conference from this past season, the Co-Hawks.
Yeah, another American Rivers Conference. I'm going to say it again. That was such a great conference this last year. Won that automatic bid, as you just said, Zach. They were the 6th seed in the ARC tournament. They won the automatic bid. Guess how many teams the American Rivers Conference takes in their conference tournament? It's only 6. So they were the last team to make the field, and they got into the NCAA tournament. So congrats to the Co-Hawks there.
I don't believe camels are native to Connecticut, but here we have the Connecticut College Camels.
Yeah, to me, they were kind of sneaky good in the NESCAC 5-5 conference record. I would love to see the NESCAC play more conference games, just so we can see like how good was Connecticut College. Maybe another half a time through the league or so, play some of those other top teams. But it was kind of a nice year for Connecticut College, but really wasn't in the national tournament mix by the end of the season.
Next up is the UW Superior Yellow Jackets, the one UW school in D3 that is not in the WIAC.
Yeah, Zach, they left the WIAC in 2015 to join the UMAC. Up there in Superior, Wisconsin is kind of like right near Duluth, Minnesota, sort of. And geographically, there are some other UMAC schools in that area that's a little bit closer. But just, not a whole ton going on around Superior, Wisconsin as far as other prime schools to play right in your own backyard.
All right, we get another one from the Fierce Foes set here. Another great Division III rivalry between Swarthmore and Johns Hopkins here. The two teams split their regular season meetings a year ago.
Yeah, a couple of really good regular season games that these two teams played, and then a great championship game in the Centennial Conference. And as you said, they split the regular season series, and it was Swarthmore that was able to win that Centennial Conference championship game to get the automatic bid, although both of these teams were in very nice position to get bids regardless of that outcome of that game.
Now we have the Buffalo State Bengals.
Yeah, some tough times for Buffalo State. 0-18 in the conference last year, just 1-23 overall. 2017 was the last year they had a winning record. So Buffalo State trying to overcome a few rougher seasons here to get back onto the winning ways.
Continuing with the team base set here, the Bates Bobcats.
Yeah, we've talked about the NESCAC several times. A really good league. They were in our top A tier conference. Unfortunately, someone's got to be at the bottom of the great leagues, and that was Bates this last year. They've played near 500 out of conference, but it was just a little bit of a struggle for them in NESCAC play.
All right, the Western Connecticut Wolves are up next.
Yeah, tremendous season for Western Connecticut this year in the Little East. They were 22-5 overall. Their real trouble, though, was getting past Keene State. They lost them twice in the regular season, then had to face them again in the Little East finals. It was an overtime game. We had so many bubbles burst in that conference championship season. This was very nearly another one. But unfortunately, Western Connecticut could not get past Keene State in overtime, and Keene State won that auto bid.
All right, one more here for Pac-14. It's the Albright Lions.
Yeah, to me, I feel like Albright's kind of always up and down in the MAC Commonwealth. It was a very good league last year. They're about usually as likely to win 20 games as single digits, and kind of unfortunately for them, last year it was a 9-15 type of a season. So maybe next year they're going to be up pushing that 20-win mark.
All right, one more pack for this episode. Let's get it started with another Yellow Jackets Randolph-Macon.
Yeah, I think those who watch D3 hoops nationally are very familiar with Randolph-Macon now. They've been in the Sweet 16 or better, I believe, in each of the last 4 tournaments that were being played. I think they were the best team in 2020 when the tournament shut down. I think they were the best team in 2021 when we kind of had that half-year COVID, and then a 2022, I believe it was, national championship and a Sweet 16 appearance this year before losing to a very good Oswego State team on their home floor.
And one more point here. We need to start to have a national conversation about, does Yellow Jackets have a space between Yellow and Jackets or not? You know, Randolph-Macon has it. You know, you go back a few slides where we talked about UW Superior. They do not put a space between Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, let's figure this out, guys.
I mean, we got the colors lined up. Can we get some of the naming convention lined up here, guys? Let's go.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Let's run the system here, Matt. Greenville, Panthers.
Very fast team. They, like you said, one of those Grinnell style systems. I know they'll always quibble that there's differences between the two. Fast pace, lots of shots up, lots of points. Unfortunately for Greenville, the last 3 or 4 seasons, not a lot of wins. They had some success previously, but not as much lately.
All right, here we have the Lycoming Warriors.
Yeah, Lyco in the MAC Freedom out of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. They had the second best record in the Freedom Conference last year, lost to Arcadia by 1 point in the semifinals. Arcadia would go on to win that auto bid out of the Freedom Conference.
All right, our second Maroons of the day, we have the Chicago Maroons. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about whether or not there's a space in there.
Yeah, Chicago Maroons, Chicago, Illinois, out of the University Athletic Association. We've talked about how great that conference is time and time again. They were the lowest rated UAA school by both the Massey ratings and the efficiency ratings, although Massey still had them inside the top 100 overall nationally. Efficiency ratings had them just outside, but still, they're basically the top quarter of Division III. And you're the bottom team in your conference. That's just such a good league. And Chicago was a good team. They just didn't get a chance to show it very often because of all the great teams they were playing week in and week out.
Well, and often they were showing it for 37 or 38 minutes,
Yep.
and then they just couldn't close out a lot of games. So, tough team. All right, next we have the Oswego State Lakers.
Tremendous year for Oswego State, 29-3 overall. My efficiency ratings had them number 3. We just had Randolph-Macon a few slides ago. This was the team that beat them at Randolph-Macon. They had not lost on their home floor in like 60-something games. I don't have the number in front of me, but that was a tremendous streak that was ended by Oswego State. I think they're going to be one of the strong-looking teams heading into next season up at the top of the preseason poll. Or near the top, maybe not at the top.
All right, following them, we have the Goucher Gophers.
Goucher out of the Landmark Conference, Towson, Maryland. Been a lot of lean years for Goucher. 1-13 in the Landmark, 3-21 overall. I think it's been 8 seasons since they've won double-digit games, and a lot longer than that since they've had a winning season. They're going to have a new coach this next year, so hopefully things maybe can turn around for Goucher.
All right, here we have the next one up in the D3 Threads relic set here. This one with Sarah Quattrocki.
Yeah, Sarah, the national committee chair this last season, she had the opportunity to present the championship trophy to Christopher Newport. She did so in this bright pink blazer. We had a chance to call the manufacturer to get a piece of that same material for this card. And so we can give it to you here in this special relic card. You can have a swatch of the same fabric that Sarah was wearing there at the championships.
Matt, did you have them send you a sample there, a full size sample? So I know you like a good blazer. Are you gonna maybe rock the pink next year in Fort Wayne?
I did actually get the whole blazer. I said just a swatch, but I got the whole thing. So hopefully I will wear it as well next year. Yeah.
Okay, breaking news.
Yeah.
All right, back to the team base set. The Penn State Berks Nittany Lions.
It was a nice step forward for Berks this year. They won 7 games, which maybe doesn't seem like a whole lot, but they were winless, I believe, in 2022. So I think that does represent a big step forward. So you want to celebrate that. Hopefully, Berks can keep that momentum moving forward.
All right, the John Carroll Blue Streaks.
John,
Another team that lost in the tournament to Oswego State.
yeah, Oswego State played a tough run through the tournament. And one of those teams in the second round was John Carroll. John Carroll out of the OAC, University Heights, Ohio, kind of the Clevelandish area. They were a really strong team, kind of up in that kind of top 15 zone a lot of the year in the top 25 national poll. I expect them to come up even higher next season. I think they're going to be one of the favorites, a top 10 or so team coming into the year. And I think we're going to see some maybe great things from John Carroll, or we have the opportunity to see great things next season.
Okay, we have another insert here, Matt. This is back to the national committee set. We have David McGrail, head coach at Penn State Altoona, and also representative of our home Region 7 on the national committee.
Shouts to Region 7. Yeah, we got a chance to chat with him a little bit and meet him up in Fort Wayne. So that was great to see. Anytime you can talk to someone with great experience, both in the coaching realm and in the national committee realm, I just love those conversations. So thanks for taking your time to talk to us. Coach McGrail, we appreciated that, and maybe hope to see you in future years as well.
Well, they'll be taking a little swing through Michigan playing Albion and Olivet.
Unfortunately, you and I will be at Ohio at the Great Lakes Invitational that weekend.
Okay, next up we have the Maryville Scots.
Tremendous end of the season for Maryville. I think they won their last 10 games. After kind of maybe being outside of the Pool C discussion, they made a serious bid for the Pool C race. Of course, the Collegiate Conference of the South was in their first year as a conference, so there was no Pool A available to Maryville. They made a heck of a run for Pool C. Unfortunately, we're just maybe kind of outside of that range. One more waiting year for the CCS before they get their Pool A, so they're going to have to make another run at Pool C next year.
And our last card of the day here, the Newman Knights.
A really, really good year for Newman. I think 21-8 overall is what I had them. Although that maybe seems like too many games now that I look at it. They were the number 2 seed in the AEC, but came up against Marymount in the championship and lost by 5. Marymount was also very good. So Newman was right on the cusp of that Pool A. Unfortunately, came up just 1 game short.
And that wraps it up. Let us know in the comments below what was your favorite card of this set. You can also check out the description for links to our previous episodes in this series. This is the 4th, so check out part 1, part 2, and part 3, and be on the lookout for part 5.
We'll see you next time. Good job, team.